What is happening, Blades? And welcome back to the Blades Ramble, proudly sponsored by Action Coach Sheffield. If you are a growing business and you would like to continue growing, they are the people to speak to. And thank you to them again for sponsoring this video. And I will be saying that going forward because they've agreed to sponsor us through to the end of the year, which I'm very grateful for. And as you know, I've always said, I won't bring a sponsor on board unless I've done my due diligence, because I don't want to lose credibility with you guys in terms of what I'm essentially advertising to you. So despite several offers, Action Coach Sheffield are the ones that we've gone with. So thanks again to them for sponsoring us. It's very much appreciated. Also, a massive thank you to friend of the channel, Shazbat, who has sent us a fantastic keyring that she's made as part of her business. Can you see that there? It's a bit too close, to be fair. Look at that. Oh, just in focus. And on the back, these are custom made by Shaz, and she's now selling them on her shop at Shazbat Designs. So do go over and support her. A proper blade, friend of the channel, as I've said. So thank you, Shazbat, for that. Really appreciate that. And if anybody else wants to send me any stuff, then I'm more than willing to accept that. You'll obviously get yourselves a proper plug and things of that nature. But yeah, we're pretty shameless on this channel. So recently, as you know, I've been doing daily rambles, and to say it's not been challenging would, to be honest, just be untrue.
What the hell are you doing? I'm kicking my ass! Do you mind?
It's not challenging because I don't like talking about United. I don't like coming on the ramble, all that sort of stuff. That they are a given that I absolutely love to do it, or I wouldn't. The challenge has been, firstly, the time, because I'm very busy at work at the minute, because I do have a day job, believe it or not. But squeezing it in and around my day job, which obviously has to take precedent, and also making sure the content is right and worthwhile. I've always said I won't put a video out unless I feel like it's worthwhile content. So what I've decided to do, I'm going to continue, because I'm a man of my word, and I've said I'll do a daily ramble each day in September. But what I'm going to be doing is a couple of shorter videos as well, because I've noticed that, listen, I'm putting out a lot of content, and some of it is really meaty stuff, quite long videos. I want to put that time in because I think it's worth it. I think it's quality content in terms of the interviews we've been doing and stuff. Loved having my dad back on. He's coming on again very, very shortly. So I'm going to do a couple of shorter ones in between. So those that are getting a little bit fatigued or finding it hard to keep up with the ramble, then hopefully these are a little bit more of a snapshot rambles, if you like. So today, our topic that we're going to be talking about is Hecky. It's mad to me that somebody who has done so well is under any form of pressure, criticism, question marks over his job. And listen, I'm not for 1 minute saying this is coming from the club either. But it's circulated in the media recently, as we're all aware, that the club have made contact essentially and sounded out Chris Wilder for a return. Now, there's a few things I need to clarify here, because I wasn't a fan of Hecky's initial appointment, and I don't mind saying any of this, because I try and just be completely honest with you. Wasn't a fan when Hecky was first appointed. Thought it was a bit of a cheap option, bit of an easy, safe option. He has 100% proven me wrong. Absolutely brilliant job that he's done. No, you can't say any other in terms of the success that he's brought. Now, you could argue he's had a Premier League squad in the Championship. So he came in when I think we're 16th to 17th, about 17, 18 games in, took us from there to 5th in the Championship. Now, 5th in the Championship with our squad, you'd like us to have been pushing for top 2, but on the form and the time that he'd spent in the job, our form was a top 2 side. So he'd done his job more than enough to get us up. And obviously it was just a slow start to that season that hindered us. So fantastic. He'd done exactly what was asked of him. Obviously we fell at the semi-final hurdle. These things happen. We bounced back the following season. We choose to retain our star players and not sell. The only player we sold was Ramsdale, which, good riddance if you're going to go on strike and not want to play for us. And Hecky's done the business, got us up. Not only that, during that time, he's blooded, I think he's on 9 youth team players now, as we've moved to a sustainable model. He's had to work under a transfer embargo. I don't see for 1 minute why, after a bad start in the Premier League, and what I would also say is a bad start on paper, because yes, we all saw the first couple of games. In fact, the first 3 of 4, which were Palace, Forest, and Everton, as a real chance to get off to a strong start in the Premier League. We all know that didn't happen, and we all have I think we're all on a similar page as to why that didn't happen. But we have consistently got better every game, and I don't even think it's that subjective, to be honest. I think it's factual that we have performed better and better every game, and we're just not getting the rub of the green at the minute. Now, shifting gears a little bit, this Chris Wilder rumour comes up after we've lost 4 games in 5, which doesn't sound good in terms of the record, but there's no context to that record. When you apply the context, I think it's nonsensical, this news, but nobody, and listen, there'll be other people that claim it, so I am just as big a Chris Wilder fan as anybody. The man took our club, and I know he hasn't done it on his own, and I know that people helped him along the way, and some people think Alan Neil were the brains behind it, and some people think that all different sort of things and criticisms that are easy to do after the fact. Chris Wilder brought our club back together. We were a broken club, rotting in League One. He picked us up and took us to the Premier League within 4 seasons. And not only that, it was the way he brought us all together. It was a blade, and he is a blade. Was in the crowd at Tottenham, which may have added fuel to this particular fire, to be honest. But I don't see any legs in it, certainly not currently. Can't believe I'm saying this, but I hope there isn't at this stage. I, for one, am not one that completely dismisses Chris Wilder as not, he should never return, or he's not the man for us anymore. He's in the past, let's move on. Chris Wilder's made mistakes, name me a manager that's never made a mistake. Name me a person that's never made a mistake. I would question Chris Wilder's the way he left the club. I would also question the money he spent in the Premier League and the way he went about scouting those players. But can we say for sure that he hasn't learned from that experience? The Prince said in his interview with Sheffield United Way Lads, he's rekindled his relationship with Wilder, which again has probably added a bit of fuel to this fire through no fault of anybody. But the Prince said he was a better manager now than he was when he lost his job or he left the club 2 years ago. And who's to say that's not true? That may listen. He hadn't had a lot of success, unfortunately for him, at Borough and Watford. I would argue that Borough, he teed everything up for Borough to be successful, and Carrick's come in and ridden the wave just as things were starting to click. And Watford is a basket case of a club who are now tanking again, if you've seen them recently. So some things are irreversible. I wouldn't be against Chris Wilder coming back in, but don't think now is the right time. I would never, ever turn my nose up at Chris Wilder being involved at our club in any way. For those that have said, could Wilder be involved as a director of football? Could he be part of the coaching team as maybe a defensive coach? No. Chris Wilder is a number one. Chris Wilder is a manager. I think he sees himself as a manager. I wouldn't be surprised at all if he was willing to concede now certain aspects of the traditional manager role. And I'm not saying he'd want to come in as a head coach per se. Still think he wants a significant say on what's going on. And listen, this is me talking without speaking to the man. But I wouldn't be surprised if he'd be willing to concede some of his previous responsibilities to other people in order to evolve as a manager. So I'm really interested to hear what you think. And I think, to be honest, we'll all be on a similar page with this. If you'd have said to us 2 years ago when Wilder left the club that we would be arguing for Hecky to stay as opposed to Wilder coming in at this point in time, I'd have called you crazy.
Are we crazy?
He's one of the most iconic and, in my eyes, the best manager we've ever had, Chris Wilder. But what has Hecky done to deserve this sort of treatment? And I don't think it's justified. I have every faith that Hecky will turn this around. All the performances point towards an upturn. And there's a lot of people that say, well, even if we were to be relegated, stick with Hecky because he'll bring us back. So this is a long-term project for the club, and it's not, being a sustainable club isn't just about bringing youth players through and selling prize assets when they reach a certain value. That is a large part of the model, but it's also about having structure and continuity at the club. where it's not all down to one person. Under Chris Wilder, we relied so heavily on Chris Wilder, which brought us tremendous success. But then when he went, replacing Chris Wilder and everything that he was involved in was a really tough ask. So let me know what you think. I'm really intrigued to hear. As I say, I think we'll be on a similar page, but again, let me know. And if you do like what we're doing, please do like, comment, subscribe. I talk about this all the time, and it becomes a bit of a tagline that you throw out, and I don't want it to be that, because we are on a mission to make the channel grow. Subscribing, for those that aren't aware, and apologies if you are, but just in case, it's absolutely free. You press the subscribe button down there, and all it does is lets you know when videos are coming up, so, or it'll suggest it to you. If you press the bell next to it, then that'll flash up on your phone or your iPad when a new video comes out. So any support you can offer is very much appreciated. Thank you so much to our ramblers who are giving me ideas for content. We talk back and forth quite regularly. They put questions forward for upcoming guests I've got. We're obviously in this WhatsApp group where we have some quite involved discussions and things of that nature. So it's fantastic. And once these daily rambles will stop, do stop,
it's been 84 years.
We'll be back to exclusive Rambler content and things of that nature as well. So yeah, thanks again for everybody for supporting us. I was told the other day by a couple of Ramblers that people aren't aware, because obviously I've had a bump recently in subscriber counts. People aren't aware that we've got merch. So we have got merchandise. And if you fancy getting involved with that, then you can scan your phone here or visit bladesramble.com/Ramble merch. So there are all my plugs out of the way, I think. If I think of any more, I might edit them in. But until then, come on, you red and white wizards. Up the blades.
Ramble on.